Hare Krishna. Welcome to Transcendental Thursday on Folk Life. In this session, we're going to discuss the cures of today's social evils. Prabhupada once said, if human beings were given the facility to learn about God, then they cannot remain on the level of cats and dogs. You cannot have peace in a society, Prabhupada said, of cats and dogs. The thief, the murderer already know the law, yet still they commit violent crimes due to their unclean hearts. So our process is to cleanse the heart, Prabhupada concluded. So we're going to dive deep into this aspect, what Swami Prabhupada said in these sessions. Before we start, let us fold our hands and pray to Srila Prabhupada for us to understand better than the murderers and the thieves and act on the instruction given by the Supreme Lord, so that we can cleanse and act and solve the social evils of today's and tomorrow's. Hare Krishna. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shiva Sadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. When I came to Krishna consciousness movement, the one book which stuck my consciousness deep was Science of Self-Realization. Today, when I was pondering what would be the topic which I should speak about, that chapter from Science of Self-Realization had a place in my heart, and I recollected and I remembered and went to that particular chapter. The chapter name was the topic of today's sessions: finding cure for today's social ills, crime, why, and what to do. In this chapter, July 1973 interview, a Chicago Police Department Lieutenant Musi meets Prabhupada, and he had a lot of questions. And the question was basically centered around crime and rising crime in Chicago City. So he puts across a lot of questions to Swami Prabhupada, and that's the solution for all today's social evils. At any point of given time, the solution is this, what Swami Prabhupada says. So first question was, Lieutenant Musi was, he says, Swamiji, I understand you have some ideas that could help the police department in our efforts to prevent crimes. I would be very interested to hear them. This was the question or the thought which Lieutenant Musi put it across to Swami Prabhupada. And Swami Prabhupada went on to speak. The first point he mentioned was, there's a difference between a pious man and a criminal man. Criminal man doesn't have his heart pure. A pious person has his heart pure. The dirt is like a disease in the form of uncontrollable lust and greed in the heart of a criminal. Today, people in general is in this disease condition of life. Thus, crime is widespread, whether in US or in India. When people become purified of these dirty things, crimes will automatically disappear. The simplest process of purification is assembly of congregation and chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, the names of God, and that is called Sankirtana. You must get together the people at large together and hold man Sankirtana. The congregation chanting of the holy name of God will dissipate the dirty things in the heart, and everyone will become pure, and there will be no more crime. This is what Prabhupada said to Lieutenant Musi. Lieutenant Musi immediately asked, do you have any feelings about the crime in our country, United States, as opposed to crime in your own country, India? Prabhupada said, what's your definition of crime? And Lieutenant Musi goes on to say, any trampling of the rights of one person by another person, that is what crime is all about. Prabhupada said, yes, that is the definition of crime. Even the Upanishad says that. Ishopanishad, Ishavadhyam idam sarvam. Everything belongs to God and everyone has a right to utilize what is allocated to him. He should not encroach upon others' property, others' belonging. So if he does so, he becomes a criminal. Actually, the first crime is that he goes on to inform Lieutenant Mosey that you American people were thinking this land belongs to you Americans. But 300, 400 years ago, it was not yours. You came from somewhere else and you claimed this land to be yours. Actually, it is God's property. Therefore, everything belongs to the Lord. Since everyone is the Lord's child, but vast majority of people don't know who God is. What is his understanding? Practically speaking, Prabhupada goes on to say, everyone is godless. Therefore, to be educated to love God is the purpose of our organization. In America, in your government, there's a slogan, in God we trust. Is that correct? Lieutenant Mosey said yes. But where is the education of God? Prabhupada countered. To trust is very good, but simple trust will not endure unless it is backed with the scientific understanding and knowledge of God. One may know that he has father. That is natural. Anyone who is born, he should understand that he has come because of his father. But unless he knows who is his father, his knowledge is imperfect. And that education in the science of God is lacking, Prabhupada countered. To that, Lieutenant Mosey asked, do you feel that that's lacking only here in the United States? Prabhupada says, no, everywhere. In this age of Kali Yuga, the age of forgetting God. That is the meaning of Kali. It is the age of misunderstanding, quarrel and hypocrisy, Kalaha. And people's heart are filled with dirt of reels and shorts. But God is powerful. When we chant His holy name, we become purified. Just as my disciple, he shows, have become purified of their bad habits. Our movement is based on the principle of chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. We give everyone the opportunity without any distinction. They can come to our temple, chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, take a little prasadam as a refreshment and gradually become purified. Then he goes on to say a very important point. If the government helps us to hold Maha Sankirtana, then without that day, without doubt, without any delay, the whole society will change. Lieutenant Mosey nodded. I understand you correctly, sir. But you are saying that we should emphasize on return to religious principles. In the West, the idea is you should separate the state from the religion. Religion is separate, state is separate. Now, Swamiji is telling to Lieutenant Mosey, you have to go back to religious principles. Now, what is the answer Prabhupada gave? Prabhupada gave a wonderful answer. Certainly, you have to go to religion. Without religious principles, what is the difference between dog and a man? Man can understand religion, but a dog, kutta, cannot understand. That is the difference. So, if human remains on the level of cats and dogs, how can you expect a peaceful society? If you bring a dozen of dogs, kutte bille ko leke aao, put them together in a room, kya karenge? Bokenge? Will it be possible to keep them peaceful? Similarly, if the human society is filled with a man whose mentality is on the level of dogs, how can you expect peace? This is what Prabhupada countered. Now, Lieutenant Mosey further goes on to ask, if some of my questions sounds disrespectful, he's a lieutenant and he's putting some challenging questions. So he want to just be submissive and respectful to Swamiji. He goes on to ask, it is only because I do not completely understand your religious beliefs, because he's an Indian man and he's an American man, his upbringing is different. So don't misunderstand my tone and my body language in the tonality which I am asking. Prabhupada said, no, it's okay. It is not a question of religious belief. Krishna Prabhupada goes on to explain the importance of religion. He points out the distinction between human life and animal life. Animals cannot learn anything about God, but human beings can. However, human beings are given a facility to learn about God. Then they remain on the level of cats and dogs, provided they don't learn about it. That's why human life is very rare, very rare. And this human life has a prerogative to understand about who am I, who is God, what is my relationship. But if the government or the people at large keep themselves as cats and dogs, it is not possible. So therefore, the duty of the government authorities to see people are taught. It's a responsibility of government that people should not be on the level of cats and dogs. Think only about eating, mating, sleeping, and defending. They should be educated about religion. That's the common factor. The only difference is that God cannot be instructed. कुत्ते को बोल नहीं सकते क्या करना है. About his relationship regarding God, only a man can. Prabhupada pauses for some time, and Lieutenant Mosi goes on to ask, wouldn't be peace be a precursor to return to religion? अगर peace आ जाएगा, religion अपने आप आ जाएगा. Must we not have first peace and then religion? So then Prabhupada goes on, no, that is the difficulty. At the present moment, no one actually knows the meaning of religion. Dharmam tu sakshat bhagavad pranitam. Dharma or religion is a set of rules and regulation, a set of guidelines given by the Supreme Lord. Religion means to abide by the laws of the God. Just as ideal citizens, you abide by the laws of the government, because no one has understanding about God, no one knows what is the laws of God or meaning of religion. This is a present status of today's society. They are forgetting religion, taking it to be kind of a faith or a dogma or mythology. In India में ऐसे बोलते हैं. Faith may be blind faith, but faith is not a real description of religion. This is very important point Prabhupada says. Religion means the law given by God. Anyone who follows those law is religious, whether it is a Christian or a Hindu or a Muslim. So Lieutenant Mosi goes on to ask this question. Sir, with all due respect, isn't it true that in India, where religious customs have been followed since centuries, we are seeing not a return to, but a drawing away from spiritual life? They're going tangent, they're going away from God. Prabhupada agrees to that proposal or question which Lieutenant Mosi said, and he said, yes, but it is only due to the bad leadership. Yata Raja Tata Praja. Otherwise, in India, Prabhupada goes on to say, vast majority of people are fully God conscious. Even today, if you organize a Janmashtami, thousands of people will come and throng. Unlike here in the West, even the best of the educated, Prabhupada goes on to say, the professors, scientists, they don't know what is going to happen after death. Is there life after death? But any simple person in India, he knows, Upar wala sab dekh raha hai, God exists, and if I do something sinful, I have to be punished for it. Hence, they'll not do any sinful activity. Even if there's some quarrel, generally the custom in India is both of them, they go in front of the deities in the temple and they would settle out things, because everyone knows I cannot lie in front of the deities. So that's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said this special birth of people of India. Bharata bhumi te hoila manushya janma yara janma sartak kari karo paropakar. Anyone who has taken birth in India, he says, should make his life perfect. It's hum logon ke liye bol rahe hai. By becoming Krishna consciousness. How? By chanting 16 rounds of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Then what he should do? Then distribute the Krishna consciousness all over the world. All over the world. So this is what Prabhupada said, and finally Lieutenant Mosi went on to ask, sir, he takes the question to a different level. He said, because he's from the Christian background, so he had this doubt. There's a parable in Christianity. They say that it's easier for a camel to go through the eye of the needle than for a rich man to come before the throne of God. Do you think the wealth, the richness of the United States and other Western countries is a block to spiritual faith? कहने का मतलब है, इनके पास बहुत पैसा है, तो जो पैसे वाले भगवान के पास नहीं जाते हैं, जिसके पास कुछ है नहीं तो वो भगवान के पास जाते हैं. इसीलिए वेस्ट में, यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स में लोग एथिस्टिक बन रहे या इरिलीजियस बन रहे हैं. प्रभुपाद से कहते हैं, यस, सही कहा आपने. भगवान भी गीता में 2nd chapter 44th verse में यही कहते हैं, टू मच वेल्थ इज अ ब्लॉक, it obstructs our advancement in Krishna consciousness. Krishna says in the Gita, Bhogaishwarya prasaktanam taya aprita chetasa vyavasyayatmika buddhi samodona vidiyate. If one is very opulent materially, he forgets God. Therefore, too much material wealth is a disqualification for understanding God. Although there is no absolute law that only poor man can understand, but generally, extraordinary rich people, his only ambition is to acquire more money. Paisa, paisa, paisa. For such guys, it is difficult to understand spiritual teachings. So, feelingsly, aayega nahi andar se. But exceptions are there. But generally, so Lieutenant Muzi goes on to ask his next question. Because again, I said he's from the Christian faith. He's what is understanding of religion from the Christian faith. He's asking. In America, those who belong to the Christian faith also believe these things. आप जो कह रहे हैं वो सही है. हमारे Christian religion में वही बोल रहे हैं. But I don't see any vast difference between the spiritual belief of one religious group and another. कुछ ज़्यादा difference नहीं है आपके और हम में. तो प्रभु बोलते हैं हाँ सही है. The essence of all religious principles is same. Our proposal is, whatever religious system one follows, he should try to understand God and love Him. If you're a Christian, we do not say that is not good, you must become like us. No, our proposition is, Prabhupada goes on to say, whether you are a Christian, Muslim, Hindu, doesn't matter. Simply try to understand God and love Him. See Prabhupada how he handles the questions of a police department personnel. Again, he goes on to ask, sir, if I return to my original question, what was his original question? He's an officer in the Chicago police department, and there's always a graphical increase in the crime in Chicago, because the crime capital of the United States is Chicago. So that's why he had a lot of difficulty. Even in the Times magazine, it was headlines was there. Why? What to do? Crime. Why? What to do? So he went on to remind the question which he asked in the initial beginning of the interview. He went on to ask, I want an advice. You could assist us in reducing the crime. And the criminal mentality, how to diminish that? Prabhupada, yes. I have already outlined, given to in the beginning of the talk. Should give us facility. What is the facility? For what? To chant the holy name of God and distribute prasadam. Then there will be tremendous change in the population. I came alone, Prabhupada says, from India. Now I have few followers. And what do? I ask them to sit down and chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And after some time, I give them prasadam. If this is done in a mass scale, if it is exponentially done, the entire society will become very pleasing, and this is a fact. So this was a solution which Prabhupada reiterated. मैं कर रहा हूँ, कुछ disciples follow कर रहे हैं, वो change हो रहे हैं. अगर government हमें help करती है, एक जगह देके और प्रसाद distribute करने के लिए help करेंगे, तो whole society will change and the whole society will become God conscious and peaceful. तो the police personnel, he said, अच्छा ये काम करते हैं, अगर इस प्रोग्राम को अगर हम स्लम एरिया में करते हैं, पॉवर्टी जहाँ पे है उन लोगों के यहाँ पे करते हैं. प्रभुपाद कहते हैं, वी डो नॉट ड्रॉ सच डिस्टिंक्शंस. एनी प्लेस इजीली अवेलेबल टू ऑल काइंड्स ऑफ मैन, ना पॉवर्टी हो, रिच मैन हो, जहाँ पे सब लोग एक जगह पे आ सकते हैं, संकीर्तन होल्ड कर सकते हैं, चाहे वो पुअर हो, रिच हो, गोरा हो, काला हो. Everyone needs to be purified. सबके हार्ट में गंदगी, कंटामिनेशन है. And Prabhupada goes on to say, don't you think criminality exists only in the poor section of the society? Rich वाले criminal नहीं है क्या? ऐसे पूछते हैं Prabhupada. Then Lieutenant Muzi, no, but I mean to say, before we do it in the influential area, more of a strengthening the community, if the program were held in the poorer area than the affluent area. तो उनका एक लॉजिक था, रीज़न था, वहाँ करने से पहले यहाँ पे कर लेते हैं, उसकी यहाँ पे सक्सेस होगा तो वहाँ पे वो भी सक्सेस हो सकता है. तो प्रभुपाद कहते हैं, आवर ट्रीटमेंट इज़ फॉर स्पिरिचुअली डिजीज्ड पर्सन. Hence, everyone is spiritually diseased. When a person is afflicted in a disease, whether it's a there's no distinction between whether it's a rich man or a poor man. Both are admitted to the hospital. Yes or no? गरीब आदमी बीमार पड़ेगा, रिच आदमी बीमार पड़ेगा, दोनों को हॉस्पिटल में एडमिट करना और दवाई देना है. तो उसी तरह आप एक जगह दीजिए जहाँ पे रिच भी आ सके, पुअर भी आ सके, गरीब भी आ सके, अमीर भी आ सके, सारे वर्गों के लोग इकट्ठा हो सके और वहाँ पे अच्छी तरह से संकीर्तन करने का मौका मिले और प्रसादम का डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन हो जाए. देन जो हार्ट में जो गंदगी है सबका वो निकल जाएगा और जो टेंडेंसी है क्राइम करने का वो चला जाएगा, हार्ट मेल्ट हो जाएगा, हार्ट प्यूरिफाई हो जाएगा एंड जो टेंडेंसी है वो कम्प्लीटली ख़त्म हो जाएगा. जैसे मेरे शिष्य पे पहले ये भी सब क्रिमिनल्स के जैसे ही थे, बट as and when they came to Krishna consciousness, when they start chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, their hearts got cleansed and they stopped committing crime and they are most gentle beings, the ideal citizens. So Lieutenant Muzi goes on to say, sir, that's a very difficult task. Prabhupada says, it is not difficult. Simply invite everyone. Come, chant Hare Krishna, dance and take prasadam. What is the difficulty? We are doing in our centers and people are coming, but because we have a little money, little men and little resources, we are doing in a small scale. We invite everyone. Gradually people are coming to our centers and becoming devotees. आप लोग जो folks हमारे बात मान रहे हैं, आप भी पहले ऐसे ही थे, लेकिन आपने invitation लिया, हमारे programs में आए, प्रसादम पाया, chant हरे कृष्णा किया और आपकी ज़िंदगी जीवन बदल दिया, है ना. तो हमारा फैसिलिटी इतना है, अगर मास स्केल पे अगर गवर्नमेंट, चाहे यूएस गवर्नमेंट हो, चाहे इंडियन गवर्नमेंट हो, चाहे गुजरात गवर्नमेंट हो, अगर वो प्रोवाइड करते हैं हमको फैसिलिटी वेर इन वी कैन स्प्रेड द मैसेज ऑफ भगवत गीता, give a chance for people at large to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, then mass scale Sankirtan happens, mass scale the tendency to even perform sinful activities, a crime will destroy. So much money we are spending, whether in the West or in the East, to give away or give up bad habits and drugs and other things automatically can be overcome just simply if the government helps us in spreading the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. If somebody belongs to different faith, they can chant the names of the Lord in their scriptures, in their book of faith, but the names of the Lord has to be chanted. And if this is done on a mass scale, then everyone in the world will be happy. And that's going to happen. Nagaradi Gramadi Sarvatra Prachare Hovya Moram. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has prophesied that these names of chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra will happen every nook and corner of the whole world. And already people are getting benefited. Now it's us folks who should take this things seriously and take it to the next level. Then later on again, because he was from a Christian faith, he went on to ask this question. हमारे यहाँ पे भी बहुत सारे Christian organizations हैं और they have this holy communion. Why doesn't this work? Why is this not cleansing their heart? तो प्रभुपाद कहते हैं, very frankly कहते हैं, he said, to be speaking frankly, I find it difficult to even find one real Christian. Prabhupada goes on to say, because they are not following the orders of the Bible. In the Bible it is mentioned, thou shalt not to kill. That's the first testament, first commandment. But hardly you find any Christian truly following this. The same with Hinduism also, the same with Islam also. You'll hardly find anyone seriously, sincerely, strictly following the commandments in their own religion. And that's why it becomes very difficult for them to change. Prabhupada goes on to give an example. My disciples are trained to strictly follow the religious principles. No intoxication, no illicit sex, no gambling, no meeting. Therefore, the chanting of holy name of God is different from others. Theirs is not only simply rubber stamp position, they have realized the purifying power of the holy name through practice. Who? Devotees of Srila Prabhupada, disciples of Srila Prabhupada. That's why purity is the force. And that purity comes when you follow some regulation. Nothing can be achieved without tapasya. And tapasya is no intoxication, no illicit sex, no gambling, no mating, and chanting 16 rounds of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. If this is done on a regular basis, whether you're a hardcore criminal or an idealistic citizen, your heart will be cleansed and Lord will be there in the heart. And just like Arjuna was guided from within, personally, by standing in front of him on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, similarly, the Lord will guide us, and externally, the spiritual master through his books will guide us, and the world will be crime free and peaceful, and people will be happy. And this is the solution for all the social ills. Today, whether your social ills may be as a student addicted to some bad habits or pornography or whatnot, simply by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, you can cleanse your heart, you can become sober, you can become joyful, you can become peaceful. The kind of happiness and pleasure you're looking for in many sources, in intoxication, in flesh eating, in illicit sex, and in so many other features of gratifying the senses, has only put you into difficulties. That pleasure has a beginning and an end, but the pleasure in Krishna consciousness has no end to it. Hence, we implore and request all of you folks who are connected with this Hare Krishna movement and folk to take up Krishna consciousness seriously, chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, follow the four regulative principles, and be happy eternally. Thank you so much for attentively, eagerly waiting the entire video. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.